Okay.
Mhm.
Welcome back once again. We are here at Life, Love, and Real Estate, and we're excited to take you through a journey of all three. As always, I'm excited to have you here, but do me a huge favor, even before I introduce myself. Like, subscribe, share. There's someone in your life who is sick of paying rent, who's paying too much in rent or too much in their mortgage. And make sure you send this and the other episodes to them to make their lives a little bit better. Help us help you be the best friend you can. Who are we? Glad you asked. I am Daniel Palmer, Shelter Home Mortgage. And as always, I am brought alongside my much better pod half, LaCressa Morrow. What's going on, LaCressa?
Hi, how are you?
I'm
We're
good.
back. We're
I
back.
really enjoyed like stumbling through my intro and watching you giggle and being like, he'll get there, he'll land the plane, he'll figure it out, he'll say my name
It's not
eventually.
even that. Your voice kind of changes over time. Like first you started out like a game show voice, and I was like, oh, okay, that's different. And then you kind of like eased into like your normal, sports and lender voice. But no, it was like it started out kind of. I was like, oh, Bob, okay, let's go, Parker, we're
In
doing
my
this.
defense, football's back, which means I'm doing a lot more podcasting, like my own show. I'm guesting on other shows. Like I'm talking more into a microphone because the fall is here, and you caught some residual announcer voice. And I don't apologize. It's who I am.
I love
It's
it. I was
it's
just
part
like,
of the
oh,
package.
okay.
But you're not wrong. Good ear by you. You've thrown me off just a little bit. We're gonna be fine. We're back on the rails. As always, every 2 weeks, Life, Love, and Real Estate, we help you navigate all three because inevitably all three are connected. If you have a life, you're gonna hopefully have a little love in it. And if you've got some love in it and you've got a life, you're gonna want a place to put that life and that love. And that's where we talk about real estate. Everything is connected, everything has its purpose, everything has its place. But LaCressa, we're talking here. We're recording this on the 8th of September, which means, oh my God, summer's behind us.
Summer, right? I just went this year. I mean, I know we say this every year, but this year has gone by so fast. And I'm so thankful that they're so easy to record your life. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? So with phones, and everybody has their phones, and their phones can do all these amazing fancy things. And so it's a great reminder because things are moving so fast and we're so focused on the next thing and the next thing and the
Right.
next thing. Yet when there's like, how was your summer? Most people are like, it was great. And it's like, what did you do? And they're like, well, like it's hard to remember all of the things, the highlights.
So
So
outside of like your phone making you a playlist and making you like, here are some highlights for the last 6 weeks. Like, wow, this just happened.
yeah.
I'm not nostalgic yet. How do you mark the passing of time? Because the one that got me that's never changed since we were living in Philly about 10 years ago. Me and Susan, this tiny little walk up, 800 square feet, but we made it work. And she looked at me and she's like, you only get like 80 of these. I'm like, what do you mean 80 of what? She goes, summers. You only
I
get, and I was
know.
like, oh shit,
It's
it
a
hit
whole
me in the
different
chest.
perspective when you do it like that, right?
It hit me in the chest so
Sometimes
real
it's
when she
good
said that.
that like particular experiences, right? So
Mhm.
like if you only see your parents once a year, right? You have a finite amount of time that
Yeah.
you're going to see them. So it makes time very intentional. And even though it moves by, it can feel like it's moving by fast. You can really put a lot of things into it if you want to, and make time for it, right? But it is moving. And I know this is like football season has started, so that's a big deal for you.
Yeah.
A house music event was always the culmination of wow, okay, fall's here, so house in the park, shout out to the crew. So yeah, we both have our markers, but yeah, summer was fantastic. What was your
That's
highlight?
that's my the highlights are we're gonna get in the highlights in a second, but you mentioned House in the Park is kind of your end of summer like signifier.
It's my
Mine
day.
is the same weekend, but it's my desire not to go into Atlanta. So just for those who aren't like
No,
local to Metro Atlanta, and those who don't know, so Labor Day weekend in Atlanta, it's awesome. It's fantastic. If you're an outside go see people kind of person,
fantastic.
this is who you need to be. I am an old now and don't love seeing people all the time, and so these are the three things that occur for me that weekend. It's they have the football kickoff game at the Georgia Dome, the Chick-fil-A
Yeah.
sponsored kickoff game.
Mhm.
They're gonna have Dragon Con, which
Yep.
means all your furries and your horns and your cosplays, all that's going to be out in downtown Atlanta. And then
Yeah.
it's also Gay Black Pride. For
Yeah.
me, if you've come to Atlanta on Labor Day weekend, you've seen the city. You've seen everything the city has to offer. You understand the city in a way that some locals don't. Like that for me is like the Atlanta weekend.
Fantastic. I love it. And I'm going to add one on top because
Do
of
it.
House Park. There is the Weekender. So that is
Mhm.
from Thursday to Monday. So now
Okay.
you also have not only 10,000 people at Grant Park on that Sunday, but that whole weekend you have people coming from all over the world to dance to soulful house music on top of Pride, on top of Dragon Con, and on top of SEC. And they throw everyone together downtown. And it's freaking fantastic to walk downtown and see Superman and then Zorro and then Alabama or Tennessee or Georgia gear. And everyone's looking at it's wonderful. I love my city. I love my
People are
city.
like, how do I explain this to my kids? I'm like, brother, I've seen parents explain like 3 furries walking down the street. Like, you can get through it. Like, you can make it happen, y'all. Like, just talk to your kids. But you're 100% right. Like, it's the highlights of the summer. It's one of those things where we say this a lot. Sometimes you don't realize you're in the good times, so you look back and like, oh, those are the good times. Yeah. Like my summer was like, you and I went to our first concert together. Like we're friends. Like that's dope to me. I took my kid to the park or to the zoo and got to watch him see the animals in his books were actually real animals and like have that realization.
So
and be like, that's an elephant, daddy, look. And I'm like, I see him, buddy. This is so exciting. I got to go to New York and see a bunch of my New York friends. Like I had a full summer. Summer owes me nothing. There's a 23-year-old version of me who looks at that summer and is like, bro, you were sober a lot. And like, yes, I was sober a lot because that's how my life has changed.
I was not sober a lot. I mean, yeah. Generally I'm sober, but yes, I got it in.
You mouthed it, and I was like, I don't even the audio for the video audience. You're like, I wasn't sober. All right, fair enough. Everyone's gonna hear it. That's fine. But hey, talking about highlights, you talk about signifiers. What were some of your highlights of the summer?
Going to Portugal was fantastic. So I was there for like 8 or 9 days. Nice. So, and I would say even more than going to Portugal, which was amazing. Like I want to see as much of the world as possible. And I was there to support some friends and I danced a lot. And once again, house music has been a theme for me. And so the international stuff was great. But most importantly, it was great to be able to build a business and have the support where I can do that and still keep my business flourishing and still be able to work on my business. So it's just, those reminders of like, oh, this is what I dreamed of, and this was a big deal. So yeah, that was great. Spent some really wonderful time with my mom. My sister came up for her birthday. We had a fantastic weekend. So yeah, lots of good time with some really wonderful people. So you know me, I love intentional time.
You do. Well, you know me. I love the fall. I love football.
I know.
I'm so like this weekend. It was one of those things where I don't realize, and not that I'm not a curmudgeon. I'm not perpetuating a bad mood, but man, when there's football, I'm in such a better mood. It's just like I'm such a weirdo, and I love the fact that I married someone who's intellectually curious because she'll be like, "Well, why does this excite you?" And I get to be a football nerd and explain like. This play set up that play, like this formation. She's like, why would they come out there if there's no time to run a play? I go, because now I've lined up in this formation and I can see what defense they're going to call against that formation. So now I have more information. I have more data points with which to engineer my next plays. And like, you're laughing because it is stupid and it's ridiculous because it's football. But that's me, man. I'm stupid and ridiculous. And I care too much about football to where I'm like, ooh, they've run zone 3 times inside. Next time out of this, I bet they run the option. And they do, and I feel smart. And I'm like, oh, that's such a good, smart football thing. But it's about taking what's in front of you, taking in more data, and understanding how to attack it. And so that's one of the reasons I'm so glad we're talking today, because you mentioned we're in fall now. The fall market is a different market than your spring and your summer market. And just like football, see, I brought it back. Just like football, you're able to take these changing data points. You're able to take the information in front of you and plan out an attack that's going to be effective, consequential, and not a waste of your time and money. And so for me, fall is about renewal, and it's about a new beginning. And I think I wrote at the top of the seasonal reset. And I want to kind of talk to you what you've seen in your experience in the marketplace as we go from, let's just use broad brush painting here, people who are trying to move before school starts so that they can have their kids in a school system before fall versus the people who are shopping now, even as we're looking at interest rates take their biggest tumble in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a different time of moving. It's a different market. I would say though this year it's been such a interesting market, we'll say, right? Like the typical seasons for hot market versus cooling off market has not been 2025 in any way.
Correct.
It's been writing its own script. So, number one, I believe that you buy when you're ready, period. Right. I also was a child that moved a lot because my family is military. And so changing school districts was just like a part of our life. But I know
Right.
people are different these days and they don't want to inconvenience their kids and they don't want to pull them out in the middle of the year. But that was just our life. Like you just picked up
Right.
and you went somewhere else. So I probably am a little more biased on that end of like move when you need to. But at the end of the day, right now, I say most importantly, if your strategy is to own a home before the end of the year, this is now your time. And whatever you need to do to prepare yourself is this is the time to do it. So that you have some time because once it gets to the holidays, you're going to be less motivated. There's still going to be homes out there on the market. If you're on the buy side, there's still buyers out there. If you're on the sell side, at the same time, once we start getting into that, I always feel that once we start getting around Halloween, then everyone's thinking about Thanksgiving and now everyone's thinking about Christmas and the year is kind of a wrap. Right. And so you definitely have some great opportunities around that time, but fall is your play to give yourself some ease. Also, to be able to spend the holidays in your home, right? If that's your goal, and be able to file homestead exemption and have that kick in more immediately because you have to have ownership as of the first of the year. So there's a lot of different benefits with buying in the fall.
It's one of those very funny things that I don't think I had even considered until we were talking about it. But I took, 4 intake calls over the weekend. People reaching out, people introduced by their realtors saying, hey, I want to start the home buying process. And to a person, all 4 calls were, we want to be in our new home by the end of the year. And so my, of course, follow-up is, oh, you're up against the lease? No. But my goal is the end of the year. Fantastic. So we got to have those first conversations. They start the applications. We'll have follow-up calls later this week. What is it about? And like you did a fantastic job of framing this. We're like, hey, the end of the year is going to come really fast. Like all of a sudden, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, like it's all going to kind of domino into each other. What do you kind of, what advice would you give someone who is reaching out to, let's say me, in the next week or two for that first initial consultation to make sure that their path to the end of the year would be more seamless on the buying side, especially as an agent?
Numbers are always important for me. So you need to know where you stand and you need to do whatever you need to do to know where you stand. I mean, honestly, that's my simple answer.
Yeah.
You being a renter and being able to pay rent and qualifying for a mortgage are 2 different things, right? And you may be able to pay the $2,000 or the $2,500 or whatever because of where you live or what you want, but that does not necessarily equate that you're going to qualify for that, right? So you need to know your real numbers. And I think that is the first step of your due diligence. That's what I'm always going to tell you. You need to reach out to a lender, or here are some lenders that I recommend. You need to understand your numbers, not just monthly payment. You need to understand how much am I willing to put into this investment, right? Because it's not just down payment, it's closing. We've talked about this, but if you're new, it's down payment, it's closing costs, it's reserves, it is cash to close. So it's monthly payment, yay. And do I have the cash to close out the actual loan itself? And so you need to see what those numbers are so that you're not shocked when you fall in love with this beautiful home and you think you're ready to go and you're like, I get the monthly payment that I want. And then you see those cash to close numbers and then you're like, pump the brakes because you weren't expecting it. So
and I
no
think
surprises.
That's super important. No surprises. And there's someone listening right now who knows they know better and saying, I'm going to get in the house by the end of December, but I don't need to do all this stuff right now. Listen to us now, believe us later on. The last thing you want is to say, oh, I know where all my numbers are, and then have something you've got to deal with on your credit. Maybe it's not your fault. Maybe it's erroneous, but it's going to take time and effort to get it removed. Oh, I'm working with a guy who does this stuff, who does it on the side, who advertises in a barbershop. And look, I've gotten plenty of things from the barbershop, including, haircuts way back when. I'll tell you this, if a shortcut worked, it'd be called the way. There's a reason why there's a path set forward for you in a certain direction to get these things done. It's not because it's the fastest, it's because it's the most reliable and most accurate. So when you're saying to yourself right now, Daniel and LaCressa are crazy, I'm going to get my credit pulled in October and see what happens. What may not happen is you finding a home before the new year. And what that may do is have you re-signing a lease that you did not have to. We're not telling you these things for our benefit. We know this. What we want to do is make sure you're not spinning your tires, wasting your time, and getting locked into a commitment that you don't need to be, gaining zero equity. We don't want you lighting another year of rent money on fire when you could be building something for yourself. No kidding. Today is the 8th of November. So far, oh goodness, September, I'm already time traveling.
Time ahead.
I know, right? The 8th of September, I've already saved my clients this month so far over $100,000. I've either put that in their pocket or they've paid off debt using the equity in their homes. That's what's in front of you. Interest rates just took a tumble. They're building in these cuts for later this year. So when you hear the words, the Fed is cutting the rates will not move. They will already have this baked in there. And the people who don't listen to this podcast, or the people who do listen to this podcast, will have a leg up because you'll know that your lender's already baking this rate cut in there and you can be ahead of the rush. When rates fall, more buyers enter the marketplace. Yep. When more buyers enter the marketplace, that inflates prices. That is economics 101, supply and demand. We can talk about it for days. But LaCressa, you stop me if I'm crazy here. When you see the interest rates are going down, and when that hits the newspapers, all those folks who thought they were being savvy to say, I'm going to wait till the rates fall. You were savvy. You're very smart. But there are other smart people, too, who are doing the same thing. Keep them in mind as well.
Yeah, it shifts the market. It goes from a buyer's market to a seller's market. And when there's a seller's market, you may not be negotiating as much as you think that you can, or you may not get the concessions that you may want or / need, depending on how your numbers break down. So, yeah, at the end of the day, if you want to buy a home, buy a home. Talk to someone who'll help you buy a home. I mean, rates are going to go down. Yes. If you're listening to this and you're in other markets, I have no idea what's going on in your market, but Atlanta, it's going to help. Absolutely. It's definitely going to take some of those buyers who have been sitting on the fence to jump in. At the end of the day, when it comes to Atlanta, we are always still a strong market on average. Compared to the rest of the country. And there is competition here with every price point that you're looking in. And because of the fact that we have people moving here from so many different places who view they view our pricing is relative to how we natively view pricing, then, you have a different type of competition out there as well. Right. And so that is something you have to think about here in Atlanta. But at the end of the day, just know your numbers. And then once you know your numbers, then you can make the best decision. So you're going to talk to me. I'm going to tell you to talk to him. He's going to tell you your numbers. He's going to give you your options, whether you're in a lease or not in a lease, or your lease is almost up, which is usually when most people make decisions. But I can tell you that most of my buyers who were in leases did not time it based on when their lease was expiring. They said, I want to buy a home. And we figured out and we helped to negotiate some of those costs into their home deal if they had to break their lease and all of those different things. So you're not stuck in any way, even if you're in a lease. If you want to buy a home right now, we can get you into a home. And breaking your lease is not detrimental. You just need to be aware of what the repercussions are with breaking your lease. And there's usually just a financial penalty.
And
But
there's someone listening right now who says, I can't buy a house because of X, Y, or Z. Maybe X is I'm self-employed and I write off too much. Maybe Y is I am W-2 and I haven't been on my job that long. Maybe Z is I tried to get pre-approved in the past and I couldn't. Let me
yeah,
tell you today, what you need to
all
do is reach out to me because the answer is never no. It's how do we get to yes? It is finding different loan programs that are going to fit your scenario. It is finding
that.
down payment assistance programs that can help you get into the home with more of your money in your pocket than you thought was possible. It's about taking a secondary look and seeing your whole financial picture. Hey, you may say, I've got a fantastic interest rate. I don't even need to refinance. I already own a home. Why did my friends send me this podcast? They must be silly. Well, first of all, thank you
You're
for listening
great.
for so long. Thank you for
Yeah,
listening for so long. But
you
secondly,
you like our banter.
we're good. You've got to realize that you've given yourself a weapon you can wield against other forms of debt in your life. You've got credit cards, you've got car notes, you want to send a kid to college. You've already paid for some of that in the equity in your home. Now it's time for me to show you how to take advantage. Hey, maybe you've got equity in a property that you don't know what you want to do with it, but you do know that you can make it appreciate faster than it would inside the property. Take the cash out, invest it somewhere else. Heck, use LaCressa, go buy an investment property. Now you're making money and you're helping someone find a safe, clean place to live to get their new home buying journey started. We're all in this together. We're all working together. Let's do it in a way that makes everyone feel good and feel positive about it. So if you're listening to the sound of my voice and you've heard a sound in your own head saying you can never own a home, give me a call today and let's dead that voice. Let's be louder than that voice. Let's listen to Daniel. Let's listen to LaCressa and let's find you a solution that's going to get you into the home that you and your family deserve before the end of the year. Now, LaCressa, we can preach till we're blue in the face about the benefits of home ownership and the different ways it can help you down the line. When I talk about the end of the year, people always say, I'm going to wait to the new year. Either it's I want to buy before the new year or I'm going to wait to the new year. What are some of the benefits, you mentioned a couple earlier, of making that move before the end of the year? I know we can get into homestead exemption, and that's a huge tax break, but what else is a good incentive or good reason to look when everyone's zigging to wait when you can zag and buy now?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's about you and your life, right? And it's about what you want and what makes you feel most secure. I think for me, my goal in life is not that I ever had to like live off of survival per se, but yes, I was young, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm all those different things, but moving to a place of security and it's yours. And it's a great way to end the year. It's for me, buying a house is definitely has the financing part is the bonus, right? The equity is the bonus, and what you could do with it and how you can build wealth and all of that stuff. That's great, and I'm never gonna knock that. Like that is a beautiful bonus. Most importantly, it's your home. It's a place that you can create memories. It's a place that you can establish yourself. It's a place that you can say that I literally have a piece of this earth, this space, this property that's mine. And now I get to live the life and build the life that I want. So all the other stuff is a bonus. They're great bonuses. Don't get me wrong. They're wonderful bonuses, but it's more than just about money. It's your home. It's your life. It's your lifestyle. It's a place that you lay your head down every day. It's a place that you relax and you restore in and you dream in and you share memories and laughter and tears and all of the things that life bring you, because life is always bringing you something. You get to go back to a space that's yours. And I
It's
think
like
there's
the
a
old
beauty in that.
it's like the old saying, home is where the equity is. No, but you're 100% right. I'm so
You
glad you
are
said
hilarious today. Anyway, we're going to circle back to your barber joke, which is why I was laughing off camera. Like, I was like, did he? You are on fire. I love it.
I
Hilarious.
appreciate that. No, but it's like you said, and I get caught up in the equity conversation and trying to make
Yeah.
this funny financial sense for people. That's my job. But
Yeah.
as I think about the joys and the changes that I've gone through in the house that I'm recording from right now, I don't think about the value. I don't think about, oh, we've made X number of dollars. That's not
No.
the, it comes to mind like the morning I had to drive Susan to the hospital to have that kid. It came to mind where my brother needed a place to stay for a couple months and I had a place to offer him. It comes to mind where like we've put so much work into the backyard and making or even your crepe myrtles. We moved in here. They were so overgrown and we cut them back. In the first year, we were like, did we cut them back too much? Are they gonna bloom again? Oh no, we killed these damn trees. And now, like 4 years later, they're blooming you're right. Like there's so much more. The wall outside this office that I'm sitting in right now has 12/31/24 for Matthew Palmer's height. Like we're gonna keep his height on that little door frame.
Like TV. I don't have kids. My parents didn't do that. They're not that nostalgic. They didn't give a shit.
Trust me, neither are mine. But we were sitting in the house on New Year's Eve, and I was like, we should remember this somehow. And I watch him walk by there today, and I'm like, you're already so much taller than you were a year ago. Like it's just for me, it's like, oh, this is gonna get really expensive. This kid's gonna get huge and cost me a lot of money. But more than anything, it's like I'm watching him grow. I'm watching him change. I remember the first night we spent in this house. This is Susan's not gonna listen to this. She's not listening this far in, at least. Somebody was in charge of getting the water transferred over, and somebody forgot. And so I went out and bought.
I forgot. Got it.
Somebody. I don't know who it was. It could have been anyone.
It just happened.
So I went out and bought 20 of the gallon jugs of water. So we'd have water to flush a toilet, and we'd have water, but like it was like that. Like for like 2 days, we're like, how are we gonna make this work? But we made it work. We slept. We didn't have furniture yet. We had a tiny TV on like my football stool from college that I'd stolen. Sorry, Enzo. And so like that was our first couple of nights in the house. We're using our phones as hotspots to watch Netflix. Like it was so stupid, but it's my first memories of this home. And it's not about the closing disclosure. It's not about wiring funds.
No,
it's not about anything. It's about, like you said, it's about the memories that were built here. It's about the consideration for ourselves. And I think that's more than anything I want to focus on for a second here is your home. Your ability, you're owning your own home shows a level of consideration for yourself. So we're all,
absolutely.
You may listen to me right now. You could be a waiter, a bartender. You could be a CEO, an airline pilot. At the end of the day, a lot of our lives are focused outward. How do we make other people happy? How do I make this client happy? How do I make my boss happy? How do I make my bank account happy? How do I make these other things that are outside of this head happy? When you, like LaCressa said, when you are in a home that you own, that is yours, there's a level of peace that cannot be fully described until you see it, until you feel it yourself.
Yeah.
There's no, oh, I hope the landlord doesn't need nothing, or I hope this doesn't break so I can deal with the landlord or his people. It's like, yes, there are concerns, but at the end of the day, this thing we've built, this family unit, this home, it's bigger than the asset. It's bigger than the investment.
Mm-hmm. It's a complete mental shift when you go from being a renter to being a homeowner. No matter how big or small, no matter what the price point is. I bought my first home for $32,000. So, it doesn't matter what the price point is. It's your home. It's yours. And it's a mental shift. You walk differently. The world looks at you differently. And I know that shouldn't matter, but it does. That's the reason why when you apply for a new car or a credit card or whatever, they ask you, are you a homeowner or are you a renter? Because you are perceived differently. You are considered more reliable as a citizen of this world because someone has agreed to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars or $50,000 or whatever in order for you to build the life and the security of having a home. And so there's just so many outwardly bonuses to it, but it's yours. I love my space. I will always have this particular space. I've only been here for 5 years. I lived in boxes for the first year until a friend came in town and she was like, Heifer, we're not doing this. Get up. And I was like, I don't want to.
I'm glad you got other people who do that to you. I'm glad because LaCressa is that person for enough people in her life. I'm so glad you've got someone else to be like, no, we're not. Absolutely. No, ma'am.
We're not doing this. Ma'am. Like, do we really have to? She's like, it's been almost a year. And I'm like, no, it was a whole thing. But I love my place. I love the way the neighborhood has grown around me. And it's just been really wonderful too. So how you create your own memories, and yeah, it's a testament of you doing something for yourself. This was my biggest accomplishment, having my own space and helping people to get their first home. I'm a big first home buyer representative. That's kind of what my bread and butter has been in. Even with selling developments, I deal with a lot of first time buyers because of the price points, whether I'm on the buy side or the sell side of representation. And there's nothing like closing a home with someone who's buying their first home. It is just a new start to a different type of life that they're going to have. And so it's a beautiful experience to be a part of. I'm very thankful and grateful. And also just thankful and grateful that they trust you in the process, because it is such a huge thing. Because outside of that, the biggest thing has probably been like your car, right? A lot of people drive fancy cars. So, it could have been $30,000, $50,000, $60,000. Although I do realize a lot of people were leasing cars that I thought were balling. I was like, look at them in that fancy car. And then I heard that they were leasing. I was like, oh, I forgot people do that.
It's here, LA and Miami and Houston and Detroit are the 5 cities I've been to where it's like, you don't know, anyone could drive anything.
Yeah.
They're just very car-centric cities where it's like,
honestly, it made it less important for me about any of that stuff.
Right.
At the end of the day, anybody can buy anything if you make enough money. If you rob, cheat, or steal, or work really hard, you can buy anything that you want. Right?
We advocate on this podcast working really hard, not the first thing.
Obviously, yes, we do that. But at the end of the day, everything for the most part is for sale, and you can figure out how to get it and take it down. I mean, the lottery forecast is what here, like $1.7 billion. You know how many people are paying to buy this tomorrow? It'll probably be like 2 something because everybody's shooting their shot.
I don't play the lotto, LaCressa. I don't play the lotto, and I don't gamble. I don't gamble because I was a college football player. Please, if you listen to this, don't gamble on college football players. You don't know what's going on in their lives. You know who got dumped. You know who failed a test. You don't know what's going on. And there's nothing less reliable in America than the 18 to 24-year-old American male. That's my little spiel about gambling. Don't gamble. But 1.7. I might have to.
I want every cousin and every outskirts of Atlanta. I am Atlanta snob, right? So when people are like, oh, like there's this place that I wanted to get food from, and they're like, we have an Atlanta location. Then I looked it up and it was Riverdale. And I was like,
no, you don't. Why would you say that?
It's not Atlanta, but whatever. But those people out there are the ones who freaking win. Someone in Tift County or McRae or Douglas or some town with one mart or whatever. Those are the people who freaking win. So I don't have people out there, and I'm not driving out there, but it would be nice if you could pay.
You'll all know if I win or if someone in my family wins because you'll never see me again. None of you will ever hear from me again. I won't bother anyone ever. I'll leave you all alone. I promise.
Forever.
I promise. You guys are like, Daniel, who? I'm going to get those Men in Black flashy things and erase myself from everyone's memory. I'm like, no, Daniel never existed. No, this is Daniel's new life with his new friends.
Yeah. 1.7, man. That's insane. Like, how would you to go from having minimal money to now being landed $500 million, right? Because after taxes or whatever, right?
And take the lump sum.
Like you're like $600 or $700 million. How does that not make you crazy? That's wild. Like that's interesting.
I want to find out.
Want to find out.
Let me find out. Let me know tomorrow. LaCressa, I'll write you a book report in a year. I will let you know how it has changed me. If I can win this here money, you'll be like, Daniel, who? You'll get a letter in 12 months. I don't even remember this guy. We used to do a podcast. I'll be a whole nother thing. Let's find out.
Isn't that wild? I mean, talk about changing someone's generations. Like that is just cool. So what would you do real quick? Because you're going to probably wrap us up. But if you win your $500 million, what would be the first thing that you would do outside of like tell Susan, blah, 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 and you have to report. But like once you get the money, like
why would I tell Susan? She'd find out like the rest of y'all, like never see me again. What the hell, where'd Daniel go? No, I think my first irresponsible spend was I'm gonna steal this from my buddy Jimmy, one of our best friends in the world. He says if a limo comes to your house at 3 a.m. and tells you to pack a bag, get in the car. He says because that means I won the lotto. That means we're all going to Vegas. It means we're gonna have a great weekend. Yeah. So I think I would send cars to certain people who'd get in the planes and we'd all end up in the same place and we'd party for a weekend. And then like I wish you'd asked me this before I had a kid. Like before I had a kid, I had plans. I knew where that money was earmarked. I knew where it was going. I knew who wasn't going to know about. LaCressa, I had a plan before I had a kid. Now it's like, I don't know, buy diapers or something. I don't know. Kid needs diapers. Like I don't know. I bought diapers yesterday. I'm like, he's gonna need more. I want to just buy more diapers. It seems like he's way.
Oh my god!
Well, you're a fun friend. You're a fun person. What would you do with your money?
So I'm gonna give myself I have to give myself a limit, right?
Smart.
With that amount of money, like you can take care of so many people. Obviously there's like the woodwork is going to happen. So I would definitely like shuffle out a certain amount of money to my family. And there's a shit
to certain members of the family. Let's not umbrella this. Maybe that's you. You're better than me.
You do heads of household, right? Like, and then and then they figure it out for their own family. It's like a rule in our family is like everybody take care of their own mama. Because I
like that. That's a good rule.
You know what I mean? There was 13. My grandmother had 13 children, right? So everybody responsible for their own mama. We're outside support, but when it comes to things like you are responsible for your mama, I'm responsible for my mama, and like and then we become support. So, but I'm gonna blow like $1 million. I'm sure. I don't even know what I would blow $1 million on. Like I don't like outside of like going to the best places to eat in the world, and there's only so much vacation you can do. I honestly like my home. I like sleeping in my bed. Like there are things that you kind of like about what you've created for yourself.
100%.
That I hear, and from watching those crazy lottery stories, like they are nostalgic about their old way of life. They're nostalgic about being able to do the little things. As you shake your head, you're like, I don't care about the little things anymore. We're big. We're going hard. Now, yeah, I'm going to see as much of the world as possible. That's always been my dream. Whether I have a ton of billions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'm going to see as much of the world as possible. So
I think travel is a great short list first act. I think travel.
And I don't have a kid, so I can just
you free.
Around. But there are people who are traveling with their kids and educating them in different countries.
That's not vacation. That's just raising a child somewhere else. That's I don't know. These people think.
Would you retire some of your friends like George Clooney did? Like he basically he went to his boys, like 10 of his boys, and he gifted each one of them $1 million tax free. Some of them were like servers or mechanics or whatever, just regular folk, and because you need someone to travel with, and if your people are still working 9 to 5. And hustling and grinding, they can only come with you on a weekend here, but they can't just drop their lives. Like you got to retire some folks so that you have people to do things with.
The answer, like the logical, smart answers, you couldn't be more right. I would love to retire some of my friends. The realistic answer is I would call them broke and change my number. Y'all better hope I don't win the lottery, otherwise it's the last episode. LaCressa,
bye, Daniel.
Tell everyone where they can find you and our comedic stylings.
I had no clue where we were going to go today.
I'm glad we talked about the lotto.
And then we ended up like this. Hi or bye. I'm LaCressa, Morrow, KW in town, LAC sells ATL on Instagram. And then from there, my information is there. So text, call, email, shout out, whatever you want to do. We're here to help you. I would love to help you. So call me.
Daniel Palmer, DanielPalmerMortgages.com, Daniel.Palmer@sheltermortgages.com. Guys, reach out to us. Let us know how we can help you, help the people around you, help you to a better tomorrow. Follow me on Instagram at Daniel Palmer Mortgages. Follow the sports show at UDPod66, I believe is the YouTube channel. I'll make sure that's true. But once again, we're back here in 2 weeks talking more about life, love, real estate, how they're all intertwined. Unless I win the lottery, in which case, Annie will be in this chair. Y'all have a great 2 weeks, and we'll see you guys then.
Bye-bye.